Coming up on today's show, we're going to be looking at what's happened in the news.
We're going to talk a little bit about blunts.
As well as looking at the best cookies ever.
I really like cookies.
Who doesn't?
And we're going to find out what GSC actually stands for.
As well, we have our interview with Canadian rapper Choclair.
This podcast is for adults only, should not be used as a meal replacement, and may contain nuts.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Noobie and the Doobie. My name is Timmy. I am the Noobie.
Marijane, I'm the Doobie.
Today on the show, we are celebrating the birthday of a legend.
A prophet, if you will.
The great and mighty Cookie Monster, everybody. Round of applause for the Cookie Monster.
Who doesn't love cookies?
I love cookies. In fact, I think you were bringing cookies today.
No, you were supposed to bring the cookies today.
Well, I brought some cookies, and then I ate the cookies because I assumed you were bringing the actual cookies. Mine were kind of like the snack pre-show.
That's actually how we met, is I brought cookies.
It is, actually.
Yeah.
We actually have our picture. We have a photo of the first time we met.
Yeah.
And it's of me looking down at this plate of green cookies that you're holding.
That's funny. I did not post that one. That's my photo. If you go on my Instagram page, you'll see the photo of you cracking a joke with a bunch of cookies in your hand and just laughing hysterically because you are funny.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
The photo that I have in my bedroom is the one you're talking about.
Yes.
Is where it appears that you're looking at the plate of cookies, but you're not actually looking at the cookies.
Okay. Well,
not the green cookies.
No. I was looking at the cookies. So that was, we actually met when I was emceeing an event.
Yeah.
You came in, I think we've talked about this on the show at some point, but you came in as a 50s pinup model.
Yes.
But you were coming in as Baker.
Yeah.
Marijane Baker. You had your plate of green cookies. And I was supposed to arrest you as a cop.
Yes, you had a badge.
Yeah. Why was I arresting you?
Because they were green cookies. They were infused, but they weren't actually infused. Thankfully, because you kept offering them to little children.
I
was like, I swear there's no cannabis in this. It's just green food coloring.
And throughout the entire thing, I kept coming over and eating more.
Yes.
Had they been infused, I had not consumed cannabis at that point ever because you were the one who got me
and you
started.
Still haven't consumed any THC edibles.
No. So
you don't even know that
if I just kept eating them that day, how that show would have went?
Yeah, that poor 4-year-old too. That would have been... Although the parent might have been thanking me, the kid slept all night. Oh my God, I got the best night's sleep ever.
That might have been.
We do not condone that.
Might have been the best performance that I ever had. So our meeting, our first meeting was based on cookies.
Yes.
But when we were walking through, I was gonna say wooking through, like
that's like
Cookie
Star
Monster's
Wars.
kind of like a Wookiee. He's kind of like this furry creature. We immediately thought, oh my goodness, we need to celebrate Cookie Monster's birthday as we start off this show.
We do.
Now, here's the thing, though. Do you know how old he is, though?
I know he came out in 1969.
Okay. So
I remember that.
We'll just do basic math. He's 52.
I only know weed math.
He is 52 years old. Look at him. Look.
He looks amazing. Okay, this Cookie Monster is only 14 years old.
Okay, that Cookie Monster's 14.
Yes.
But the Cookie Monster's 52 years old. I can tell you what. If I can look that good at 52, I would do it every single day. I don't want to be turning blue
you would
when
eat cookies every day?
I eat cookies now as kind of a reward. When I do yoga, if I do yoga, then I'm like, you can have a cookie now.
Okay.
So I don't want to turn blue, though, when I turn 52.
Well, Cookie Monster's always been blue.
Always from the beginning.
Yeah. It's kind of like those people that go gray when they're like 22.
Oh, he's kind of like the Steve Martin of Sesame Street characters. He was blue for as long as we can remember. The gray hair of Steve Martin.
Yeah,
right?
Just like Elmo's always been red.
Yep, and Big Bird has always been yellow. We can go through all the colors.
What color is Oscar?
Green.
People say Oscar is literally just a big weed nug in a trash can because he looks like a big bud.
He did look a lot. Now, I grew up watching Sesame Street. Kids today are still watching. It's one of the longest running shows, constantly evolving, constantly changing.
Yep.
But you specifically, when we talked about Cookie Monster, there were lessons you had learned
What's
that
funny,
you wanted to share
my
with...
face did light up, and I was like, I love Cookie Monster. He literally is a prophet, and I'm going to tell you why, okay?
All right, so here we go. Lessons from
Yes.
Cookie Monster
Good
that
life
we can
lessons.
now share with you here
Yes,
on the Noobie and the Doobie.
And Cookie Monster here will help share them. So, lesson number 1.
That's number 1.
It is no, that's the count.
Okay. Lesson
Same,
1.
Same show, right? No. Different show. That's a Muppet?
No, same show. Sesame Street.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, now I'm getting all confused. Okay, stick to the lessons,
Stick
MJ.
to the lessons. Let's just
Lesson number 1. It is okay to be you. In 1989, he talked about gender stereotypes and specifically how it was okay for little boys to play with dolls and little girls to play with cars, which is very insightful because at that time, Cookie Monster was only 20.
Oh, yeah. He was...
Right? That's very progressive.
How old is that in monster years? So we don't know.
And in 1989, we're talking. We're not talking like 2000s. This was extremely...
Because this sounds like a conversation that we're having now.
Exactly.
But he was having it.
Yeah, he was saying, no, like you play with whatever you want to play with.
Respect.
Okay.
Respect to Cookie Monster.
Lesson number 2.
Okay.
It is okay to treat yourself. I mean, really.
Mm-hmm.
Cookies for breakfast are okay.
They are.
Once in a while.
Well, here's just as a side note with that. I am somebody, because you know that I eat healthy.
Yep.
I try to exercise. I try to, get my sleep, those type of things in there. But I am not at all opposed to having pumpkin pie once in a while, to eating cookies. And because I tell people, it's like the reason why I eat so healthy in general is so that on those celebratory moments or the moments I can have a snack.
You can have birthday cake.
It's okay to treat you. Yeah. The moment you cut it all out, that's a tough trail. So I eat healthy in general so that every once in a while I can enjoy the snack. And Cookie Monster is a supporter of treat yourself.
Well, see, at that time, Cookie was also eating not just for breakfast. He was eating cookies for lunch and dinner and snacks. He was Cookie Monster.
And look how good he looks.
Well, this lesson number 3 could be why he looks so good.
Okay.
You make the judgment, okay?
All right.
So lesson number 3, it's never too late to change. So he was around 30 when he realized the importance of healthy eating habits and actually started promoting carrots and stuff like that on the show.
I'm disappointed.
In vegetables?
I'm disappointed.
C is for carrot and carrot is for me.
It's good enough for me. C is for cookie.
Oh my God.
That's one of the earliest songs that I can remember. No, I'm disappointed that he went to the veg. Look, I agree with healthy eating, but he's Cookie Monster. He should have always...
He's not Carrot Monster.
He should have always been Cookie Monster. If whoever was the... because obviously this was an executive. It was a guy in a suit in an office who decided to change Cookie Monster. And for someone who promoted it's okay to be you, he gave in to the man, probably because he wanted to keep his job, whatever it may be. Or woman. Could have been. Maybe not back then. I don't think women could vote back in the 80s, could they?
Lesson number 1.
You be you.
If a man could play with
No,
dolls
okay.
and a woman could play with cars.
So let's just say I'm disappointed because... he believed you should just be you. He's the Cookie Monster. That should have been his thing. Someone in a suit sat there and said, I think we should talk about vegetables. You know what you do? You don't make Cookie Monster, the prophet of cookies, who everybody loves, change eating cookies. You bring in an orange monster with a green fuzzy hair, and you call him the Carrot Monster, and he teaches children about the importance of eating vegetables, because I agree that you should eat vegetables, but it shouldn't have been Cookie Monster's job.
But what if the cookies were made from vegetables, like carrot cookies?
Okay, if you are eating a carrot cookie...
Do you eat carrot muffins?
No.
Or carrot cake?
Yes.
Okay, then you have no argument.
But because that's not the same as...
You can still make carrot cookies that taste good.
That's not a snack.
So this reminds me a little bit of the show Daddy Daycare, or the movie Daddy Daycare with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, I know that one.
Okay.
I was forced to watch that one many times with my
Yeah,
kids.
right, the kids. So in this movie, he's a market researcher. They want him to make healthy cereal.
Yes.
Do you remember the market research with the guy dressed up like a broccoli and one dressed like a carrot, where he's like BROCCOLI? It's like, I am the broccoli and don't know why. It doesn't matter how you sing it. Vegetables for breakfast, like you're saying, I guess, in a cookie or a cereal or whatever. It's wrong. Just eat the vegetables.
Carrot cake
I don't like carrot
is not
cake.
equal to chocolate chip cookies. And here's the thing.
But
Quite
it's
frankly,
also not equal to carrots.
It's not equal to carrots. Exactly. And Cookie Monster, the man or the woman in the suit who just the pencil pusher, who's looking at stats and going, I think we need to. You could have picked anybody else. It shouldn't have been Cookie Monster. I don't blame Cookie Monster. The guy had, he probably had a family at that point.
He was just trying to be healthy.
Trying to keep his job. They probably said, look, you teach the carrots or you're out of here. And he's like, I'm not going to do this. I know that Grover's going to come in. He's been eyeing my job for the longest time.
And he's already blue.
Because he's already blue. He wants to be the only blue guy on the show. And Cookie Monster had to make a decision, probably for his own family. I don't blame him. He could have said no and walked away. I'm glad he didn't. But still, somebody shouldn't have made that decision. I don't think that should have happened. But anyways.
Well, you mentioned Grover, and I kind of went on another track because Grover just came out with some big news recently. Okay. Speaking of being progressive.
Yeah.
And it's a really beautiful story with like Cinderella, the way they told it. And Grover actually was Cinderella, but was afraid to tell their friends,
all those years,
their friends,
okay,
that they weren't who other people seen them as. Like they didn't identify as Grover; they actually identified as Cinderella. I
actually identified as Grover for a few years. I
really?
had the long, lanky arms. I used to wear a cape to be super Grover.
Oh, that sounds like a story for another time.
Absolutely, and an outfit for another time.
Oh, yes.
So happy birthday to Cookie Monster. He is indeed a legend. Go enjoy some cookies, ladies and gentlemen. Have a carrot once in a while, but do that. We have a couple other birthdays we want to mention today.
We do. I've got the paper for that, don't I? Okay.
Who else is celebrating today?
So David Schwimmer from that show Intelligence.
Yes, I love that show, Intelligence.
I like how I said Intelligence and not Friends, because you all know he was in Friends, but have you seen Intelligence?
Love Intelligence. You should watch Intelligence. It's on
he's
Netflix,
hilarious.
Right? Him and his buddy.
So. Or Prime.
Okay, whatever it is. Watch Intelligence. But I hated Ross. I hated him as Ross.
So whiny.
Because I'm still to this day in love with Jennifer Aniston, and I think she's like a vampire. Like she actually looks better today. I posted a picture on my Instagram.
You're like 50 is the new 30, and you're like no.
Yeah, no. 50 is better than 30.
Yeah.
Like compare Jennifer Aniston to. Anyways, the point is that Ross. I thought that show I couldn't watch it because his relationship with Rachel just drove me crazy.
And he ends up with her in the end too.
Don't spoiler alert.
Didn't you see it? It's been over for years.
No, I can't bring myself to do it.
No.
Who else is celebrating today?
So did I say David Schwimmer's turning 55?
55. Okay.
Yeah. So we have Nelly the rapper.
Nelly the rapper.
Not the singer.
No.
Well,
of course.
That's funny because rapping is singing. Please forgive me. Just there's a singer and a rapper, Nelly.
Is it?
But Nelly turns 47.
Okay.
And then we have Marie Antoinette, who, if she was still alive, would be turning 266.
No evidence to suggest that she isn't still alive.
Well, happy birthday, Marie.
Happy birthday, Marie. We know you're watching or listening.
Well, she's watching from somewhere.
Well, are we ready?
Happy birthday, Marie.
Are you ready to get this thing rolling?
You know I'm always ready for that.
Roll it. So, what has been happening in the news?
Well, Mike Tyson says he wishes he consumed cannabis his entire career.
Well, Evander Holyfield disagrees. Quote, if Mike ever had the munchies, I would have lost both my ears.
Lost hiker ignores all calls from an unknown caller for fear that it was spam.
Well, that lost hiker returned home and found out that the worst thing than being lost is actually being ridiculed and laughed at. He has since gone on another hike. No word yet.
Scottish man finds second message in a bottle from the same man in Canada.
It simply read, "Why are you ghosting me?"
The shoes that Michael Jordan wore his rookie year sells for a record $1.47 million.
And that, folks, is why I don't throw away any clothes. Because when this podcast becomes a hit, cha-ching, stripping for cash.
A teen in India ate toothbrushes and a nail to get rid of a dirt-eating addiction.
Well, while the world awaits those results, toothbrush manufacturers have jumped ahead of the curve and have now changed their labels to read, prevents tooth decay, gum disease, and dirt-eating addictions. Also, AA has added a 13th step.
Pablo Escobar's hippos have now been recognized as legal persons in the United States of America.
Number one, I wouldn't want to be the people that were recognized as Pablo's hippos. Number two, pretty sure that's how Planet of the Apes got started. So be afraid, people. Be very afraid. And number three, local zoos have reported a huge increase in other animals now identifying as hippos.
Okay, so in serious news, let's get serious.
Get serious.
Let's get serious. A Kingston, Ontario woman now holds the top executive position at a national cannabis reform advocacy group. That advocacy group is normal.
No, it's a normal advocacy group.
No, it's called Normal Canada.
Okay.
NORML.
Right, that's the normal spelling
Correct.
of normal.
Correct.
Normal.
And can you guess who that Kingston, Ontario woman might be?
You.
No. Close.
Jackie Childs.
No. Wonderful.
Reverend Kelly.
No. Okay. It's funny how he went former guests, because this person was indeed a former guest as well.
Oh! I know who it is. The stoner chef, Danny Raposo.
No. This is Jenna Way McLean.
From episode 2.
That's right.
She was like our first guest, actually.
That-
Because the first show, we didn't have a guest.
I think she was episode 3. I
No.
believe our first guest was Amy Anonymous.
Oh, you're right. It was Amy Anonymous was our very first guest.
See, cannabis
Then it was Jenna Way.
does not hinder.
And then, yes, that's right, because then on the 4th one, it was May 4th,
Yes.
and we had Reverend Kelly on our Star Wars themed episode.
That's right.
Good memory. So congratulations to Jenna Way McLean, though, for being on our podcast. And now, let me just say this.
Maybe that's why. No.
When you go on our podcast as a guest, there is very real possibility, as a result of proof positive here, that you might one day be the head of a organization, normal or not.
Well, I will say Normal has been around for over 40 plus years doing advocacy work for cannabis. And Jenna Way McLean has been doing advocacy work in the cannabis industry pre-legalization, many, many years. I don't want to say how many years because that might age her, and we women don't do that. Now, when asked about this opportunity, Jenna Way said she was really, really excited. She hopes to address such issues like, are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Removing the taxes that are put on medical cannabis.
Yeah, you've talked about that a lot. You are so, like, the taxation on especially medical
Well,
drives me crazy.
cannabis is the only medicine in Canada that is taxed.
Okay. So she's going to address that.
She's going to address that, as well as bringing attention to the wasteful amount of packaging when it comes to recreational cannabis.
That was like that time, I think we told this on the podcast too, when you went to a store and you came out.
Oh, the pre-roll.
Yeah, with what looked like a...
You're like this, but it like...
Like, what did like a preparation H container?
It was like a tube, but it was square.
I would have thought there would have been, I don't know, 4 or 5 joints in there. Opened it up, took out the thing, and like one. There was one pre-roll in like this plastic thing. I remember it being about this big. It was huge. Childproof, though. It took me a long time to get into it.
It's funny because I had to hand it to him because I couldn't get into it. Yeah.
She was high.
But good on you, LPs, for making childproof packaging because it's sometimes adult-proof as well.
That's right.
Yes.
So Jenaway is going to talk about the wastefulness as well as the taxation.
That's correct. And I just want to point out that cannabis has, it's disproportionately run by the male population, we'll say.
What?
So I would like to just point out that this is a huge feat for women in general.
Some women have huge feet. My point,
that
though,
would be the female general.
My point, though, is that, or not really a point, but do you feel, though, that the disproportionate male leadership in the cannabis space is it's not necessarily unique to cannabis, but maybe you think there's some roles that have helped that happen? Because really, most people would say that there's been a disproportionate number of men in leadership across all organizations and cultures.
So we're actually trying to fight our way out as women of the kitchen, so to speak, right? Like back in the 50s, 60s, it was the woman's job to stay home and take care of the kids and do all that stuff. But things have changed, and you're right, in not just the cannabis industry, we've been clawing to try and get ourselves in the higher positions. But I think, especially with cannabis, because of the pop culture reference when it comes to the cannabis consumer, people assume that you're going to be a guy. Most women do not consume cannabis. But
wait, is that true?
No, we do. We just do it better because we cover up the smell. Yes, I just said women do cannabis better.
Okay.
Somebody's gonna come after me for that.
I have a question though, because you've been asking me to watch cannabis movies, and we're gonna have we've had some cinema reviews. We're gonna have some more coming up.
Yep.
But other than Smiley Face, which I think I did a review on, which I thought was brilliant. I think I gave it a high number of joints on my rating system.
Yeah. And still, once again, the same pop culture stoner.
Yes, but it was a girl.
It was female.
But now that I think through it, Cheech and Chong, Harold and Kumar. There's another pair, isn't there? Another.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah, the blonde. Who's the blunt and chronic guy?
Oh, Jay and Silent Bob.
Jay and Silent Bob.
Blunt Man and Chronic.
Right.
He knows the actual.
Right. I'm getting there, but. Almost all of the stoner representation in pop culture has been men.
Yes.
Am I wrong? Is there anything other than Smiley Face that you know of where the lead in a pop culture setting was a woman?
That's really interesting because now that I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I don't think there is.
We need to be in a movie then.
Well, that would mean I would need to be in a movie.
We come together. We would both.
Sorry. Not sorry.
Listen.
We go together too.
So basically, we would be in a movie, and you would be the star, and I would be the sidekick.
I like this.
Because there isn't. Here we go. The Noobie and the Doobie want to be the first stoner couple, or canna couple is the phrase I like to use. The first canna couple to star in a stoner flick. I think that's what we. So.
Well, they're all canna couples.
Okay, fine. The first male and female canna couple. male and female, heterosexual.
No,
Can
don't
I
put me in a
couple?
box. I don't like boxes.
Or I don't know how.
Unless it's a hot box.
Okay, how about we just do this? Timmy and MJ.
MJ and Timmy.
MJ and Timmy in a weed movie,
Cannabis flick.
cannabis flick, a stoner flick.
Cannabis film.
I think we would be trailblazers in that. So sign us up.
Ah!
Trailblazers. See, we know what we're doing. All right, so congratulations to Jenna Webb.
Yeah, we just want to say we're really proud of you and go females.
All right, and come on our podcast, people, because if you want to do anything in this world, this is where it starts.
It all begins here.
For you and for us, because the next time you see us, we'll be starring in a stoner flick.
That's funny. I thought you were going to say, and for you, and for you,
For you.
and for
And I
you.
see Jimmy and
No,
Susan.
don't do that. They never said my name.
Yeah, they never. Yeah, I don't. Actually, they never did. They never said Tim.
And they never said MJ or Marijane or Janice.
The show was a little bit disappointing.
It's a lot disappointing.
Well,
It was no poker room.
well, folks, that is what was in the news.
That's a lot.
Well, it is time for Mary Jane's Word of the Week. What is the word this week, Mary Jane Baker?
Our word this week, Timmy, is blunt.
Blunt. Let's be blunt about this.
Yes. But before we get blunt, I'm going to go back and give you a little bit of education on the other types of rolled things that you can smoke.
All right.
Okay. So we talked about joints.
Yep.
A joint is 100% cannabis inside, wrapped with a paper made from rice or hemp, etc. Can be in different colors, flavors, but it's always 100% cannabis.
Right. That's a joint.
That's a joint.
Okay.
So a spliff, you might have heard somebody say, hey man, you want to come smoke a spliff. Now a spliff is different than a joint because it is a mixture of cannabis and tobacco. It is still wrapped in a paper like rice or hemp, like a joint is, but it's not 100% cannabis. So if somebody says, let's go smoke a spliff, ask them if there is any tobacco in there, because some people mix tobacco in with their cannabis, and if you are a non-tobacco consumer, smoking tobacco will actually cause you possible negative effects.
You know, I believe the first time I heard about spliff, and I know this isn't the word of the week, but there was a one of the best comic strips ever was called Calvin and Hobbes. Seriously, if you don't know Calvin and Hobbes, you need to go get those books. But nothing out in the world is legally licensed for Calvin and Hobbes.
Okay.
He wrote the comics, he cut it off.
So all those decals I've seen on the back of
Calvin.
the Chevys,
Yes.
trucks, pissing on the Ford.
Yes. Not done by him. Okay.
Okay.
So he didn't do any of the marketing beyond the comic strip itself. But I remember growing up when that comic was out, Calvin, I believe, had a character named Spaceman Biff. And I believe I remember seeing decals of Spaceman Spliff, where it would have Calvin with. So that is, I believe, my first thing of what spliff was, but I didn't know it was a very specific. I just assumed it was another word for joint. But you're saying that they're different, and I don't want to get too much into it because the words of today is actually blunt.
It is. But no, I'm glad you got into that because some people don't use the terms correctly. So this is why we're trying to educate you guys in using the proper terminology, so that way when you offer somebody something, you're actually using the right word. So if you hand me a spliff, I'll say to you, oh, I don't consume tobacco. Thank you, but no thank you. There's also, do not get confused with, sometimes people roll cannabis with other herbs, such as lavender, sage, damiana. Now, these are not a joint or a spliff or a blunt. These are called something different depending on whatever herb you're consuming. Mm-hmm. Each herb does different things. For example, damiana, they say is safe in small doses. This is what it says. Now, I wouldn't consume something that says it's safe in small doses because, I could take poison or arsenic every day for the rest of my life in really small,
what's the definition
doses.
Of small?
But it says here anything over 200 grams.
So go ahead.
Yeah, I got that for you too. Anything over 200 grams can actually cause hallucinations and damaging long-term side effects. So please be careful when somebody is like, hey, try this. This is why I'm like, know where you're getting your supply, know what you're putting into your body. And now, for the word of the week. Right. Now that we've got all that other out of the way.
That was just
somebody says
multiple words getting to the main word.
Somebody says, let's go burn a blunt. Okay. And you're like, oh, I've heard of these. What is this? It's just like a really big joint, right? Like when you think fishing, you think muskie. It's just a really, really big fish. Chances are your blunt is going to be rather large, but there's a reason for that. A blunt is 100% cannabis inside, wrapped with a tobacco leaf or paper, or a hollowed out cigar. Okay. So it's still a combination of the tobacco, so you're still getting nicotine. However, it's in a different form. It's in a paper or in the leaf, and it can come in different flavors. But it's always, always, always brown. It's never a color because it's a tobacco leaf. Okay. So that's what a blunt is.
So a blunt is cannabis wrapped in tobacco.
Yes. And a spliff is
used by spaceman comic book characters.
Yes, and it is also cannabis mixed with tobacco.
Okay, all right. So blunt is cannabis wrapped in tobacco. A spliff is cannabis and tobacco.
Yeah. And
a joint is just cannabis.
That's correct. There we go.
Almost think this was a Teaching Timmy segment, but it's not.
Oh, this whole podcast is a Teaching Timmy segment.
And a Teaching You. Well, it is time for another high five list.
High five.
High five. Today on Timmy's high five list, best cookies ever. Oh. Now, these are my favorite cookies, but I figure that's synonymous. When it's my favorite cookies, it also technically means best cookies ever because...
Well, you do have good taste, so that does make sense.
Right? I figured she would jump in there. She doesn't miss opportunities like that.
Thank you.
I do have great taste. And I was thinking, initially, because it was Cookie Monster Day, I wanted my high five list to be top 5 Sesame Street characters. Of course, with Cookie Monster being number 1. If he's watching, and why wouldn't he be?
Happy birthday.
But then I thought, no, Timmy, this day is not about you, unlike most days. This day is about the Cookie Monster. And what would he want you to do for your high five list? And I was like, well, clearly, cookies.
Right?
Right? Because he's not going to do the top 5 carrots like that marketing guy would have wanted him to do.
You mean top 5 vegetables?
No.
With carrot being...
I don't even know if a carrot is a vegetable. Anyways, the point is, Timmy's high five, best cookies ever. Number 5 on my list, the Milano.
I wonder, Timmy, why did the Milano cookie make your list?
Because I have had a crush on the Milano cookies for a very long time.
True fact?
True fact. I actually, I like the Milano cookies a lot. A big fan of of Milano, if the cookies are watching. So we were down, actually, in Pasadena, California.
Yep.
I was performing at the Ice House as part of the Clean Comedy Challenge. And we went into the grocery store to pick up groceries one day, hence going into the grocery store. And we were blown away. Listen, we're from Canada. America, you guys know how to do groceries. But there's a true fact out there that people get crippled with too many choices. And oh my goodness, America,
it happens.
You must cripple people a lot because there was a million of everything. Cereal aisle that was like 3 aisles long.
What was it? Captain Crunch, all berries? Who has all berries?
I don't know who does all berries. There was like 14 kinds of fruity pebbles.
I did bring a couple boxes home.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
My suitcase was just cereal.
Souvenirs. See.
Just cereal.
Souvenir. I think I might have brought home a bag of Milano cookies.
We did.
Yeah.
And we brought them on the tour.
There was because that particular brand it was done by a company named Alicia. So yes. I took a picture, I think, because it was Alicia Milano.
Yeah.
Get it? That's pretty good. Those cookies are the best. So originally they came out by Pepperidge Farms in 1957, and get this, they are number 5 on my list. So this is probably the list you want to go by. But somebody in 2017 did a study that said that the Milano cookie, Milano, potato, whatever it is, however you want to pronounce it, it is the number 2 best-selling cookie in all of America. I don't know what number 1 was because it wasn't on my list.
And it only took almost 60 years.
Yeah, I mean, it
could be number 2.
Could have been number 1 and then fell off. I have no idea.
That's horrible.
Yeah, but who knew the Milano cookie?
But it's number 5 right now.
It's number 5 on my list.
Okay, that's the only list that matters.
Exactly. Number 4 on my list of best cookies ever, the Oreo double stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Not the regular Oreo. The Oreo double stuff, which, by the way, on that same list that we just talked about, the Oreo double stuff is actually a better seller than the plain Oreo.
I don't really understand why that is, because when you buy a pack of double stuff, you actually get less cookies because they take up more room in the box. And for somebody who doesn't like the icing or the filling, I throw out the filling and I just eat the Oreo wafer.
Just buy a bag of black wafers.
They're not the same. Okay. If I could contact Oreo,
you can.
I've tried to call and ask them just for the cookies, just like I've called and asked for just the Lucky Charm marshmallows. You can't get them.
Maybe in America, because they have all that choice. Get this though, the Oreo came out in 1912.
Okay. Right?
The double stuff came out in 1974. So like my entire lifetime, pretty much.
Okay.
Has had these double stuff cookies. You would like to think, oh, you get double the cream filling.
Okay.
But do you? I don't know if this guy's legit.
It's called double stuff.
I'm just going to say he's a hero. Listen, this New York math teacher, back in 2013, this guy would be the coolest teacher in the world, decides he's going to find out whether or not it's truly double stuffed. He takes the cookies, probably does a very, very thorough test, because he's a teacher, wants to make sure his students are taught exactly the truth.
Well, he's a math teacher.
Right? He finds out that it's not double stuffed. It's 1.86 times stuffed. So, question, lawsuit.
It sounds like Oreo knows a little tricks like the drug dealers do. Just cut it back just a little and nobody will notice.
Is that a full gram? Yeah, probably.
Right? It's really a 0.9.
Well, there you go. So, what you need to do to get like a double stuff, you got to get like 2 of the cookies together. You'll have more than a double stuff. But that's the only way you're truly going to get a double stuff.
Or you can just hang out with me and you can have all the stuff.
Right? Because she'll just give you the, yes. Oreo.
Oreo.
Number 3 on my list of best cookies ever is the Peak Freens Digestive.
Wait, the digestive or the family digestive? Do you know the difference?
The family digestive, the one with the cookie and the chocolate. The thin...
I have some of those.
I know. Could I have one now, please?
You want a cookie?
I would love a cookie.
Okay.
If the Milano cookies are available.
I don't think so.
We'll go with the Peak Freen Digestive Family Cookies. I love these cookies. They're so thin and you stick them in your mouth and it is a treat. In fact, I find that I eat too many of them. Number 2, while I'm waiting for these cookies to come back to me, number 2 on my list of best cookies ever is the Girl Guide Mint Cookies. Girl Guide Mint. Not, look, this here could be a statement. Oh. What did you bring for yourself?
That is my number 1 cookie.
Okay.
I'll show you that after.
On another episode, we'll do Mary Jane's High 1 list.
Well, no, I'm just going to let you eat another cookie.
Okay. I heard that. Okay.
You got a cookie monster right here.
We were talking about Girl Guide cookies.
Oh.
Now, the mint ones are the best. What I'm about to say now could cause us to lose listeners and watchers, could cause us to gain. This is a polarizing topic. There's vanilla and there's chocolate Girl Guide cookies. I love, by a mile, the vanilla ones.
No.
Way above the chocolate.
No.
You can't tell me what I love or don't love.
No, you're not giving them factual information.
No, if it's what I love, it is
mint
fact.
Girl Scout cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is mint Girl Scout cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And then there is mint Girl Scout cookies.
Okay, I get that. I'll go with that. And then vanilla and chocolate.
Yep.
Okay, maybe not.
Yep.
All right, so let's agree on the mint. Don't even worry about the other ones.
Yes.
Just eat the mint. If you're gonna get Girl Guide cookies, get the mint.
Except you can't get the mint right now. You can actually only get the chocolate and the vanilla because the mint comes out in the spring.
Those Girl Guides, so sneaky. They know that I'm gonna wait and then buy like 1 million boxes. Number 1 on my high 5 list of Timmy's favorite and the world's best cookies is the President's Choice Decadent Chocolate Chip. Decadent.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I want the Decadent double stuffed chocolate in the Decadent. Oh my goodness. That is, you put that with ice cream, put that in a bowl of ice cream.
Does Decadent
So
make
amazing.
chocolate chunk as well as chocolate chip? Because wouldn't the chocolate chunk then be the 1.87% more chocolate?
We have been known on this show to spout off information that may or may not be true. I am going out on a limb just to double shame the Oreo company. I believe that the Decadent double chocolate, what do you say, chocolate chunk cookies?
Yes, if they have chocolate chunk.
Are 1.92 times more chocolate than the regular chocolate chip, which is 0.05 more than the double stuffed Oreo.
Wow, I'm so confused. The only fact that I will say is that the Decadent chocolate chip makes an excellent top and bottom for a s'more, for an ice cream sandwich.
Yes.
For pretty much, you want to put peanut butter in the middle of that. You want to put ice in. Oh my God, we need to finish the show. Okay, let me show. Were you done? Can I share my cookie?
That's my top 5 right there. What cookie is that?
This is the jelly filled. I guess it's jelly and cream filled.
That's
There's
Peak
cream.
Freezes too, I think.
Is it Peak Freeze?
I don't know.
I didn't
There's
grab
a
the
logo
box.
on the bottom.
It says "Eat Me."
No, it just says Mom. It's like a tattoo on the bottom. Mom.
It's like one of those Alice in Wonder.
So you're going to eat that?
No, this is for you.
Oh.
You can eat it.
All right. High five.
High five. Wait. Aren't you allergic to strawberries? Okay, don't eat that. On today's Marijane strain, we get down to the business of finding out what GSC actually stands for.
GSC. GSC.
Are you excited?
Yes, he's like one of the best MMA fighters ever. George St. Pierre. GSC. GSC.
No. Although that would probably be a powerful strain.
On fire.
This is another powerful strain. GSC stands for, you said it in the last segment, Girl Scout cookies.
Look at that.
Actually, you said Girl Guide, but this is still Girl Scout.
Keeping to the theme.
Yes.
You managed to keep Marijane's strains in the theme of Cookie Monster Day.
Well, you know.
That deserves a high five, even though it's not high five right now. That's awesome.
See, Timmy doesn't realize there are many different types of cookie strains.
Oh, no, I remember. I realize that.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not your average newbie.
You're slowly evolving. I didn't say devolving.
Oh. What if that is my evolving? What if...
Oh, no.
What if we're heading towards being monkeys?
Well, you know, kind of, with all this, like, texting and your head down, maybe next thing you know, we'll just be like this.
What if that's the evolutionary curve? What if it's not? Oh,
it's
man.
It's not the other way?
Geez, we just went down something crazy there. Anyways.
Have you been consuming some Girl Scout cookies, Timmy?
Just some regular cookies. I've been eating cookies, regular cookies, and dreaming about
for all your
Milano
life.
Cookies.
Okay, so Girl Scout cookies, the strain I'm going to be speaking about specifically, is an indica-dominant cannabis strain that is grown in BC by the LP Canna Farm.
Okay.
So the THC can reach up to 26%.
What's the highest I've ever had?
Around that, Timmy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So imagine,
I have an idea. Yeah.
Imagine the movie night.
Yeah, where my brain went completely like I didn't even know you were there half the time.
So here's the thing. Because it is so heavy THC, you most likely are going to feel very relaxed, very chill, euphoric. Some people say even just heavy.
Okay.
Which has its positives when you want to just chill. Right. Now, however, I tried to engage in conversation with you, and this is not that type of strain.
No, this is your relax, chill out. This
is a before bedtime strain. I would attribute that to not the fact that it is an indica dominant strain, because we've discussed before about the differences in indica versus sativa and hybrid, and it's more about appearance than it is about overall effect.
Okay.
We've talked about the entourage effect, and how it's a symphony of multitude of things together that create this feeling for you. That's why it's different for everybody. So with THC percentages of up to 26% and terpenes such as limonene, pinene, linalool, and caryophyllene, they're going to lend to those sort of effects that you feel. Because it is a craft cannabis strain, it's done in small batches and it's all hand trimmed. So there's a lot more attention to detail. Mm-hmm. You get a much nicer looking product. Now, it does reflect in the price. 3.5 grams will actually run you $43.50 before tax and shipping.
But that should be based on weed math that
we do street
weed math. That should be about $35.
Yeah, Buddy would give you a deal. He'd give you it for $30.
Okay, so Buddy would give it for $30. Yeah. Okay, so it's a little bit on the pricier side for those that used to deal with a buddy.
Yeah, those that dealt with Buddy, it is on the more pricey side. And even if you purchase from the, from the cannabis store, or the Ontario Cannabis Store, your retail dispensary, chances are you're not spending above, $40 for 3.5 grams unless it's a quality product.
Right.
Which is what you're getting when they're only growing this much of it, and they're taking such care and attention when growing and trimming and harvesting and curing. So I will say that, this isn't really a strain that people would necessarily keep on hand all the time, but Girl Scout cookies is a must try for all connoisseurs. So you should.
Connoisseur.
Connoisseur. Wait, no, not chronosaur, connoisseur. Did I say that wrong?
Connoisseur.
A connoisseur.
Like a wine connoisseur, a cheese connoisseur. I like connoisseur. I'm a connoisseur.
Like a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Right? That's a Halloween costume for you.
Oh.
Right?
Similar to one of our past Halloween costumes.
Which was?
The Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Don't remember.
It's not the weed.
It's not the weed. That's just my brain. But I like the Tyrannosaur.
Connoisseur. Fine.
Connoisseur. So it's the connoisseur of cannabis.
Yes, somebody who enjoys cannabis and trying different strains.
This is one you should try.
This is one you should try. Maybe your buddy will have some, and then you'll be able to just be like, "Hey, you want to share? I'll swap you. I got some pink kush. Would you like some pink kush for your, for your Girl Scout cookies?"
Hopefully he'll give it to you for a better deal.
Well, you just swap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Sharing is caring.
I heard swapping happens. Is that everything?
I think so.
Another Mary Jane strain. G.S.C. G.S.C. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of On the Spot with the Noobie and the Doobie. We are very excited today to have our guest Choclair in the house. Well, not currently in our house, I assume in his. Choclair, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here, and it's great to see you guys. You guys got like the nice dark wood lumber on the background going on over there, man. I feel like I need to go up to the cabin.
Right? How do you feel about our sponge walls?
Sponge walls are always good because if you bump into them, you're safe. And what I remember from watching Get 'Em to the Greek, people, when they get wet, sometimes they end up having a good time on them.
You're already throwing out.
Although that was fur.
I was thinking about Seinfeld. Are you sponge-worthy?
Are you sponge-worthy?
Oh, sponge-worthy. Oh, yeah. I remember that one.
Everyone loves a good sponge.
So let's show you where my professional segue happens now. We're talking about TV shows, and you and I were talking about the A-Team just before we officially got going here. So I'm going to bring it back to that right away. You made a statement that made my heart flutter about Hannibal Smith. What was the phrase that you said? Do you remember?
Oh, we love it when a plan comes together.
Love it when a plan comes together. That just it's actually a good motto in life. And I did some research while we were getting ready here. Remember, we were talking about going through all the people, and you were saying, B.A. and Hannibal, Murdoch, and Face. And then there was the girl. I checked it up.
The girl.
Her name is Amy, which we nailed.
Or
right?
better known as, or not known as.
This is what it says. Tell me if this rings a bell at all. I think someone's made this up. She's known as Amy, quote unquote, Triple A. Does that nickname somebody made that up on Wikipedia, right? Like she was never called that on the show.
I don't think she was called Triple A because why would they call her a baseball league? I think that
Right.
what would happen would be, it's like, I think because when they remade the A-Team movie with the MMA, the UFC fighter,
Yeah.
not too long ago, was she in there too? I'm trying to remember. See, that's why we didn't remember her name, because we don't even remember if she was in the movie.
And if she wasn't in that movie, then our producer seems to think that he remembers her being there. So unfortunately, very unforgettable, though, is what it was.
Well, he remembered her name too, so I'm going to take his word for it.
Take his word for it.
Yeah.
It's like Spike in the Transformers and the girl that was with Spike in the Transformers in the cartoon version.
Okay, so right now, MJ inside knows going, oh no, Timmy's just found his soulmate. We need to talk much after this show, Choclair. So I wanted to talk to you because about the face principle, because I think the face principle is something that I've applied to my life. I think it helps with me as a performer. And I want to get your opinion on whether or not you feel this is a legit life skill that would help in the pursuit of the things that you want to do. And you have pursued music and you have achieved great things in music. The face principle is this. If you watch the show The A-Team, Face's job was to go into, like, say, an airport and put on a jacket and basically get on a plane and fly it. Got past security, got by everything. And he did it with 2 rules. Talk fast, talk confidently. And people would literally stumble and stutter and go, and he's just like, I'm the pilot. Oh, okay. And he would do it. So I believe that's the key principle of life. It came from the A-Team. What is your thoughts on that? Is that a valid principle for life?
You know what? Like, without putting myself into trouble with English professors all over the world, but yes, definitely get direct to the point, talk confidently. And sometimes usually he had to flirt his way into the situation, especially if it was like a female that was the person he needed to go and get through. But that became with the confidence. And you know what? And one thing that I tell my son a lot of times, I always tell him, like, like they got, sometimes they have that slouch mentality, like they're just the way their stance is. And I always push one shoulder and lift his chin up. And I'd be like, that's how you're supposed to walk in the room. So that face mentality, I can actually say it's a good situation, but there is a little bit of, what's the word I'm looking for? Nuance that you have to do with it, because it doesn't just work like that. You got to be a little bit smart too. So cleverness, smartness, and wittiness also will come in that, which they may not have shown so much. Because if you watch the A-Team, you imagine how many bullets they were shooting at everybody and nobody ever got hit.
Yeah, they were dealing with some pretty sloppy enemies.
Yeah. So, but I agree with the face thing, because it's true. You have to walk with confidence and you got to make it short. People don't even watch videos that are more than 2 minutes and 50 seconds nowadays. So it's like short attention span, to the point, confidence. Let them know that you think that I know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you don't know what you're talking about. That whole switch up type of flip up situation. And Face was great at it. And they always had to knock out Mr. T and give him milk and something to get him on the plane.
Right. Do what you need to do.
Do what you need to do. But Face got him on the plane.
Is that a kind of fake it till you make it? Like, did you go through a stage early in your music career where you're like, I'm gonna talk fast, I'm gonna talk confidently, I'm gonna fake it till I make it?
Well, it was a little bit different in that, but it was sort of like that. It was like, so one of my, I want to say, identifying moments for myself was, I'm forgetting the year, it was in the late 90s, but it was Beastie Boys playing at Molson Park in Barrie. And there was like 40,000 people over there. And I remember getting up on stage because Tribe Called Quest was supposed to be there. For some other reason, they weren't there. So then Northern Touch guys come up there and go and do it. And it was right. So it must have been around 98, because that's when the song came out. So we went up there and did our thing. I had 1 song or 2 songs. Rascals, they had more than me. Thrust, he wasn't as well known, but people knew him and stuff. And Cardinal was just coming along on his own. And we had to go in. And one thing that popped in my head when I went up on the stage is I was just like, turn this anxiety into adrenaline and let them know why they're going to like you. And that was my moment. What I did do, though, was I tore my voice to shreds, because I thought the 40,000 person all the way at the back I had to yell to reach them, not knowing that they had speakers going, every 100 meters down. So like you see me coming to the hotel. I remember that too, because it was a daytime show. So I was able to get back into Toronto pretty early. And I'm like, I'm staying at room 104. And I was like ripped. I couldn't talk. And but then that became like, now when I get on stage, I don't need to push. I just go with the confidence of knowing, like, when you're good at something. Like if you're good at math, you'd be like, I'll do math. If you can build a birdhouse, you'd be like, yeah, just give it to me. I know what I could do on stage. And so I try not to hide it from myself. So when I get on stage, I'm like, I know what I can do. And then I don't need to yell and scream in a manner, even though if I'm all overly excited and sweating like a sweat tour does, but I go up there and I just have that adrenaline in it. And so my nervousness always switches into, my anxiety always switches into adrenaline, and then I just go out there, and that's what I've learned. And you know what? I could take that from face. I never even really realized that 18 has a lot of my life than I actually realized.
Right? I even know how to flip a Jeep now.
I just normally stick to tables, but
I have been known to flip a table or two. Don't ever sit down with me with Monopoly.
Or try to jump a car if you watch the Dukes of Hazzard.
Literally, all you need is like a little turned over barrel, and you can take a car over like a bus. It's pretty amazing. You don't need a whole lot to do that.
This is all before my time. Like
we are outside of MJ's wheelhouse right now.
I'm trying to stay to my lane. I will say we did have the pleasure of seeing Choclair perform, and I don't know if it was a combination of not being in front of like a performer in a very long time because of COVID, or if it was the throwback when you were singing the Northern Touch song, like that. Is that the song, the Northern Touch, or was
Northern Touch?
So
yes.
I don't know if you see me. I was recording you, and it took every little bit of me just to hold the camera still and not drop it, and like just give her, because I was like in the deep part of my body. I was like, yeah, I was like in it. I was like dying for it. It was amazing.
It's always great to do like those songs, because one of the things that I I was always into music. Anybody that's in the Toronto area had been there throughout the 80s and whatever. I used to listen to Tarzan Dan and CFTR and stuff like that.
Oh my God, yeah.
And then a lot of these guys, I didn't know like Bryan Adams and Platinum Blonde and Glass Tiger were all Canadian bands. I just thought they were just dope songs that were playing on the radio. I still like it. Don't give Shocks the Ox, because you never know what I'm going to play. I'll play Wu-Tang and then just jump right into Quiet Riot. So like I go back and forth between all the music, and watching one time it was Eddie Murphy Raw, watching him go up and being like, man, he's controlling this crowd and he's just doing stand-up. And, I didn't really know what the talent was in stand-up. I just knew it was funny. It's going back years and years and years, like late 80s. And then when it came into me doing the music and then having the chance and then I worked at Exhibition Stadium. So I saw Kiss perform. I saw Garth Brooks. I saw all these things. I was the guy that ran the hot dog from the kitchen to the concession stand. Like that was my job. And I used to do that and see all these cool concerts. And then when I went up on stage and started getting up on stage, the biggest thrill, as I was telling some other kids the other day who were asking me for advice about stuff. And I was like, when you go in the studio, that's the work. When you get up on stage, then that's the fun. Having somebody go and sit there, they're like, oh, when you got to sing Let's Ride. I was like, I don't even sing Let's Ride. I just be like, it's the knock of the chiz. And I put the mic up. Everybody else goes sings. I order popcorn, a couple of hot dogs, a pretzel with some mustard on it, this, that, and the other. Come back and I'll be like, let's ride, everybody in the place. And they did the whole verse. And I'm like, that's the fun part. So those are the things that it really, really, I get a lot of enjoyment of just that interaction with the crowd. And especially, like you're saying, like you knew the music and you were like that is actually what we go in the studio for, like 10 hours and, come home at 7 a.m. and someone's calling us at 9. And then it's like, because that's what we want. We want that you appreciate our artwork, the work that we did. And that's a great thing.
Yeah. And the fact that it creates, like, music just creates this feeling and an emotion that goes with it that, like, oh yeah, I definitely needed that for my soul.
Well, it's that time again.
Time for a smoke?
No, it is time to say goodbye.
Well, we'd like to thank you for joining us today.
Please consider supporting us on Patreon. It's at the Noobie and the Doobie. Not only does that help us continue to build this podcast and this entertainment vehicle we're trying to do, but you can catch the full interviews of our guests are on there, as well as extra content is on there. So go to Patreon and support us there at the Noobie and the Doobie.
Yep, you can also connect with us on Facebook or Instagram, also at the Noobie and the Doobie.
And of course, subscribe to YouTube and in your favorite podcatcher, whatever that may be, again, to the Noobie and the Doobie, so that you, and push those notification buttons, whatever you need to do, so you don't miss any episodes of what we have coming up.
Yeah, and also share with your friends, whether they are a newbie or a doobie.
And with this, I close. New episodes every week. So until then, until we see you next week here on the Noobie and Doobie, don't forget.
Stay lifted.
And keep on laughing. Cheers.